Hi and welcome. Today I have a art card for you. I start with some Bristol smooth paper cut 3 by 4, but you can do any size. This is the size I prefer for art cards. Artist trading cards are smaller and just a little, I don't know, I don't like them as much. So I have this stencil. I think it's the first time I've used it. I think it's a Simon Hurley. Anyways, I got it from Simon Says Stamp. I'll try to link the name of it in the description. And I'm going to use some shabby shutters first through the stencil. And you can turn the stencil every which way to get different sizes and shapes. And it's kind of interesting. So the ink is in, and that is a pretty wet ink pad for me, so I'm going to go ahead and dry it. And then I'm going to be using some translucent texture paste and go over the same areas with that. Now, I felt pretty confident and didn't tape anything off, and because of that, I did get a couple little areas that went beyond the texture paste. But honestly, in the final piece, unless you know they're there, which I do, you don't even see them. So, and I'm really not about perfection. I'm just about having fun. So if I was giving it to a friend or something, then I would maybe tape it off, but or if it was like, oh, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this without taping it off, and right there, that's where I go out of bounds. Right there. Just a little bit though, so that's not any big deal for me. If it is for you, tape it off. So I let that dry, and with the instant results from video cameras, it's already dry, and I'm adding some color to the background, broken china, and my broken china is pretty dry. I need to get a new and bigger pad for it. So I do a couple at least applications of it just to kind of get it a little darker. And I'm going to give it some splatters. And for little splatters, I use my little fan brush. Now I wet it first and then grab water in my on the mat, just so that it's, because otherwise it would just soak it all up and have nothing to splatter. But it's kind of hard to see from there, but it did splatter. And now I'm going to give it some vintage photo splatter. Not a lot, just a little. I'm going to dry those up. Going to add some vintage photo to the edges. Now okay, I won't talk about that yet. This is a stamp, one of my favorites from Field Notes, I think. I'm pretty sure. And I often just stamp that on scrap Bristol smooth paper and give it a coating of old paper or maybe antique linen, and then stamp it with sometimes potting soil, sometimes Pebble Beach, sometimes in black. But anyways, I always have those at the ready for when I need them to add to a collage. But here I'm just adding it right to my piece and then embossing it, and I'm using broken china. Now you may think that why does broken china glaze, embossing glaze, not look the same color as the ink? And it's similar, but it obviously is a lot deeper in color. Now I'm going to stamp some more, but I've got that big bird and that big branch. Both are digital downloads, and I intended to use them both, but it just was, and you'll see me try, it's just too much. So I do end up saving part of the branch and the bird for a future project. I'm using Pebble Beach and going to stamp one of my favorite stamps for background stamping, and that is from Faded Text. And so I don't want to clean stamp, so I'm just using the stamp and inking it up in different places and then just pressing it on to the area that I want some stamp. And you'll see me stamping more than once there, and that's to get a lighter stamp. Like if you want to have a faded looking stamp, you can just restamp without inking. I like the Pebble Beach because it just kind of hides in the background a little bit. So yeah, this is quite a bit for an art card size, especially if I wanted to add that bird. So I'm going to snip off one branch, and you'll see that come up probably with that little bird sometime in the near future. You might even have already seen it because I don't always put my videos in order. Often I don't. I tend to go by colors and sizes of project, and so you're not seeing the same color every time or seeing the same exact size. So there could be, a couple months before from when I video it to when you see it. And maybe when I videoed later comes before it. So I think that will be perfect for a later size or a later piece. And I'm just gonna start selecting some ephemera to go with it, or with this piece. Because it's pretty busy, I don't want to add a whole lot. And somehow there I missed actually picking those out, but that's okay. I haven't really done anything yet. I've just picked out some things I want to go on it. This is a stamp of, or not a stamp, a punch of a whole journal page, and I used the portion I wanted for something. I don't know if it was a flower or a bird or whatever, but that one little section I thought would make a great punch, so I punched it and just stuck it in my bin and for when I would want to use it, and this is the time. Now I won't be using that whole stem, so I will be cutting some of that down. I think if you Google on Etsy budding branches, that's not what I searched, but I saw it, and I think it's entitled budding branches or something like that. But I'll have a link to it hopefully in the description. And I thought about adding a little number strip, but I end up just adding a sentiment from the clippings. And clippings sometimes is hard to find the one that goes well with the page, but I mainly do it because grab from clippings because it matches or goes with the colors I want. It automatically comes in these browns, and sometimes that's what I gravitate to, and just hope it's something that sounds okay. This one says with a joyous spirit. And that is it. I've got final pictures coming up. If you haven't subscribed, I invite you to do that. If you like what you saw, please give me a thumbs up. And I'll see you next time.